Hello ladies and gents, it's Spoony Pizzas here with another PES 2019 video. Today I'm bringing you another defending tutorial. It's chapter 2 and this is all about defending counterattacks. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so Man City are on the break and I've got Smalling selected. Notice how I'm not selecting Bailey, who's closest to the ball right now. I'm more worried about Aguero. And what you want to try and do is when you're in this scenario is keep a 12-yard gap. I think that's about 12 yards anyway. Between your last defender and their striker. And the reason for that is the last thing you want is, your opponent playing a through ball over the top or a through ball or any kind of through ball really. And him getting in behind with a one-on-one situation. So as long as you can stay goal side and give him that 12-yard gap, so even if he gets the ball, he's still got to try and beat you. So basically just keep that gap up until your penalty area, and then you want to reduce it to about 6 yards, because then he might want to try and get a shot off, and you might want to try and close that down. The next thing to note down is do not use your secondary press. So you can see Bailey at the top of the screen. I'm going to play this clip, and what you're going to see is him sort of jockeying Sterling. And the reason you don't play pressure secondary press, because if you do, he could play a 1-2 with Aguero and he's in behind Bailey. Too easy, far too easy. Again, you want him to sort of stand off Sterling and try. The idea is to try and have your two centre backs, your last two centre backs, if you're in this 2-on-2 situation, in a nice line. It makes it very, very difficult to 1-2 around. And you, like I say, you got to flick between both defenders and try and keep that 6 to 12 yard gap depending where you're on the field. So yeah, don't apply secondary press. And notice that I'm using Super Cancel, and the reason for that is because I've got Smalling selected. And sometimes when you just hold the run button down, what might happen is Smalling might turn to face the ball, and that way, if that happens, once again, you're susceptible to the over-the-top through ball, because by the time Smalling turns around, that ball's in behind you, and Aguero's momentum will carry him past you, especially if you've got slower defenders, like the likes of PK, for example. So we've managed to stall Man City's counter-attack. However, Aguero is still a threat. Now, I want to select Smalling and move him the other side of Aguero and create that 6 to 12 yard gap, just to give me that sort of peace of mind. Now Valencia has the secondary player indicator above his head. That means if I press the player select button, he is the player that will be selected. I do not want to select Valencia in this scenario. I want to select Smalling, and like I said, I want to move him the other side of Aguero, create that 6 to 12 yard gap, and take basically feel more secure defensively. To do that, I've got Fred selected. And as you can see here on my gamepad in the middle of the screen, I am going to flick the right analog stick towards Smalling. And this is the alternative way of player selecting. Okay, so if the player you do not want to select has a secondary player indicator, then you use the right analog stick to select that defender. This is how I defend most of the time. I'm always looking at the second player indicator. If it's not the player I want, I use the right analog stick. Good idea, Sterling. This is another type of counter-attack you can face, where the striker pulls off wide down the channels looking for a pass. And what he's going to try and do is he's going to want to try and lay it off to one of those midfield breakers. So what you want to try and do here is apply the secondary player press, like I am doing with Matic, but then use Bailey with Super Cancel to nullify and try and prevent Aguero laying the ball off to any of those three midfield breakers. And you're going to see that in this clip here.
And it's Aguero. Loose ball, who's going to get there? Plays it.
Once again, Man City have broken quickly, but this time it's closer to my penalty box. Now you notice that my last two defenders, there's a huge gap there, and Aguero could be running through the middle. So you have to sort of manage this, because obviously Bernardo Silva's got the ball, Aguero's going to be looking for that through pass. So what I've done with Van Dijk is just positioned him in between Bernardo Silva and Aguero. And the reason for that is because I don't want to let Bernardo Silva have free reign on that right wing and let him close the gap on the goal. But at the same time, I don't want him to allow an easy through pass to Aguero.
Forward. And it's hoisted clear. It's Bernardo Silva. Now it's Aguero.
That concludes this tutorial, guys. Hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully it's given you some insight on how to defend against counter-attacks. And like I say, it's important to maintain that 6 to 12 yard gap. That's really, really important, and that should help you win a few more games offline and online. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.